And thank you very much, Richard Munga and the tall man, Edward Kabasa, for a job well done on that other end. It's time for us to do the second part of Family Matters, which is the final part. And the gentleman took the questions that were asked by Munga and Kabasa, a part of the reactions that are coming, and most of them are actually similar to some of the things that I'm having here. So in the interest of time, I will sample several. Somebody says, this is Crispus Washira, says, lust for possession mistaken as ultimate success is the underlying factor chasing after wind. And I think this confirms what Ouma was talking about. Somebody says the recruiters don't come empty-handed. They have incentives commensurate with the needs of the youth. And somebody is also talking about radicalization has stopped targeting the vulnerable and is now focusing on the elite and educated. And I think that was also a point that was mentioned by Chair Kagudi. But of course, there's also somebody who wants us to get directly into what role colleges and secondary schools are playing in terms of radicalization or perpetuating it for that matter. The chairperson had talked about teachers, again, that you need to be careful about the kind of teacher that is teaching your kid, and we'll get to that. But let me start with you, Major, because what is this that would prompt a medical student to move from being the dream of wanting to become a doctor who will treat people to decide that they are going to become Al-Shabaab's wing of detonating biochemical weapons on the public? What is this that would make a lawyer get out of a law class in Nairobi University to go and mastermind an attack on fellow university students in Garissa? What is this?
I think, JJ,
yeah.
Sometimes when these people come to these young men and women, they don't just come empty-handed.
Okay.
And they give them false promises. Like, you are studying medicine.
Yeah.
For how many years have you been in the university? Say 2 years.
Yeah.
Then why there's a job, you can get some employment somewhere, be paid a million shillings per month,
yeah,
and you continue their studies. Then this young man will think he's getting a job before he even finishes college.
Yeah.
But when he lives there, he's drugged. He finds himself somewhere in Libya without a job, without the money, and he cannot come back home. So some of them don't just go there willingly, as I said earlier. They're just cheated and find themselves in that.
And if you try to come back, these people will execute you.
They do, yes. But some of them manage to come back.
Yeah.
So it's for us now to integrate those people who are able to come back to us and handle them as our lost children who have come back home. Then we guide them.
Yeah.
Yes, we don't just throw them away.
Bringing them back into the community. And we'll be talking about that because the chair also wants to speak about it, and we'll get to that. But Uma, the role of colleges and secondary schools in the, being a conveyor belt, for radicalization. And as you talk about that, you can also talk about the question that was asked by Edward Kabasa, whether we have agents, CIA-like agents, in this school, whether we can plant them so that they're able to actually tell us, this student is slowly getting radicalized and stuff like that. Those two questions.
Yeah. For the question is, I would say that this particular committee, one of its terms of reference is to involve various stakeholders in trying to create awareness on security issues, especially on how you as an individual person, you can take responsibility in terms of your own personal security. And in this particular aspect, we've gone far. We've worked with various secondary school heads, all of them in the country. Kenya Secondary School Heads Association, we brought them on board, we've trained them. We've worked with the Kenya primary schools heads, and now we are already engaging private school owners and principals so that they have the capacity and ability to reach those kids. We've also worked with the Kenya Music Festival. We've worked with the Kenya National Drama Festival. These are just avenues that the committee saw are viable for us to penetrate, to be able to reach those young children before they get radicalized. And from this, the songs they create, the plays they act are just meant to train their colleagues on the dangers and the ways that they are being radicalized. And even we've gone into the universities. We've worked with the vice chancellors and chairmen of various universities, and they are already giving us room to get into their universities and help them train their students so that they don't become victims of this.
There is something I want you to speak about.
Yeah.
How do you explain a situation where a child has been brought up in affluence? They have all the money, they have everything it takes.
Yeah.
So these people wouldn't even be joining ISIS or Al-Shabaab or any other grouping for the purpose of money, because they already have it.
Yeah.
But you're discovering a situation where, or a trajectory where these children who even come from affluent families who are well-doing off are still joining Al-Shabaab. And you know, the million-dollar question that the public is left asking is,
why?
Okay, so who is the candidate, who is not?
Yeah, what we tell our listeners in the process of educating is that these people, they attract from across the people, the ranks. They don't just base their target on the poor or those people who are needy.
Yeah.
We've found that the trick they use, they try to alter the way they think about money. Yeah. Those people who come from poor families, or those come from the needy families, they are promised money. And those who come from affluent families, they are made to think that money in itself is evil.
So there's a convenient distortion depending on who you're dealing with.
Yes. So they'll be getting that money you are giving them as pocket money, and then they start donating it to charitable organizations because they are helping a cause. And this cause, without you knowing, could be these Al-Shabaab people raising money through these charitable institutions. So you find it is two-pronged. Yeah. For a needy child, this charitable institution will be giving him bursaries to go to school. But for a child from an affluent family, you who can afford to take your kid to the best private schools, you give them pocket money, they'll be donating towards that particular charity. Yeah. So in essence, they don't like money in itself. They use that money to advance the cause of terrorism unknowingly. And those are just things that they have crafted so well so that they can be able to capture both the rich and the poor.
It's really dangerous. Really dangerous.
You and I and the child you left at home, your parents, anybody is a candidate of radicalization.
Everybody.
Depending on the entry point they decide on.
Yeah.
We were in Eldoret with the program of chiefs for Northern Lift. Yeah. We invited one of the directors of the DISTA FM, TV and radio. Yeah. When he listened to what we are telling the chiefs, what the provincials are telling the chiefs, he said, this boy from Moi University who died, if I had attended that program of yours, that boy would not have died. Because the signs you are telling, Linus Ouma here, the signs you are saying, we saw them, but we did not know what to do. All right. Kabiaga University wanted, as we were to go there a whole day on the 29th of this month. We stopped it because it's very close to the exam.